Hey folks, how you doing? Papa Joe here. I got one of my new shirts on. They came in today. They're pretty cool. Uh, I had a friend of mine tag me in a video, and it was an old boy. Actually, it was a truck driver apparel company that had actually did the video. The way I set back this shirt just ain't there. But it was encouraging drivers to take pride in their job and who they are and what they do. So I watched it. It was a cool video. Then I started reading the comments. And drivers talk about being out here 20 years and 25 years and 30 years and 33 years. And they all got their reasons for not being proud of their career. Now, it got me to thinking. Yes, I have bad-mouthed the industry. I bad-mouthed my career, showed displeasure in it and whatnot. But then again, don't all of us in all of our careers. It don't matter what industry you're in. There's a good and a bad side to every industry. There's good and bad apples to every industry, every career. It doesn't matter what it is. Whether you're working in an office, working outside, or working in a truck. There's good and bads in all of them. And all of us get aggravated with our jobs. Period. If they was meant to be fun, we'd call it playing and not working. And that's just how there's such a small percentage of people that actually get a job in something that they love to do. Now, I'm sure most of us as truckers really loved it when we came out here. Now, really, is it the industry that's going down that is so displeasing to so many, or are we just getting tired and burnt out? Now, I don't care what your job is. We can all poke some kind of blame at our job for why we don't like it anymore. Whether it's the pay, and believe me, as truck drivers, we got pay issues. We don't really have a driver shortage. We have a pay issue. The company's being greedy. Same thing at your place, ain't it? The government or somebody in the upper echelon making rules and changing stuff on you. That's happening in the trucking industry. Is it happening where you're at? Probably. If it isn't right now, it has in the past, and or it will again in the future. That's called life. That's called having a job. You know, I could throw all kinds of rocks at the trucking industry. It is not perfect by no means. It never will be. And guess what? Despite what some of the old timers tell you, it never has been. We're trading old problems that got fixed for new problems that are coming in with the new age and new era. That's the truth. Back in the day, we had issues with DOT harassing us. I mean, big time. But we had some pretty crappy equipment. We was running totally illegal. The majority of us. And myself right there with them. I mean, if you could lie on your log, you did. You had miles to go. Why would you sit around doing nothing when you wasn't tired and you could go? You know, with the new ELDs, you can't do that no more. Okay, you learn to adapt. They used to have them brake checks every year, a couple times a year. Remember those? And boy, was they tearing drivers up. You don't see it like that no more. For one thing, the brake checks ain't near as intense as they used to be. There's not near as many states participating. One of the issues is they can't afford it. Part of why they can't afford it is because they're not making as much money off of the trucking industry with all the tickets and out of service and all the nonsense that came along with it. So they don't have the money for it. Along with it, the reason they don't have the money, they're not writing the tickets, we have better equipment. Point blank, period. So we've fixed some problems. The trucking industry has fixed some problems. They have created new problems. They call that progress. Somehow, I don't understand how they call it that, but they do. The pay is still an issue. However, there was a court ruling in Arkansas here recently. I was just reading up on it more today. And that court in Arkansas against PAM, the trucking company called PAM, said that PAM was breaking a federal law on labor and paying people. It's escaping me, sometimers. So the article I read today, and I read about this when the court did the ruling a few weeks back. So the article I'm reading now is talking about how this might have a nationwide influence on the trucking industry. And it should. It really should. I have recently read an article where people are starting to open their eyes, people meaning the powers to be, starting to realize that the shippers and receivers are the real problem in the trucking industry. And they're trying to decide what to do. We all know that the wheels of government turn slowly on these things. But at least it's been acknowledged. So possibly in the future, probably not in my career, what years I've got left, I got like 9 years or something if I take full retirement, which I don't know if I will. I might take early. But still, it's been acknowledged and hopefully it will get fixed. We don't know. But the whole point is, regardless how bad your job is, regardless how bad your career, your industry is, and how you can throw rocks at it, you still need to take pride in your work. That's how I was raised. You do the best job that you can. And you go on about your work. You don't worry about this guy over here or this guy over here. I mean, they're using excuses. It was the one person said in his opinion, and he did state that in his opinion, the automatic transmission was the start of the downfall. I could argue with that all day. The downfall started long before that. Different things. Others are hollering that it was when the government started letting these foreigners drive trucks. If they're here legally, how could you stop them from driving a truck? Why would you? Once again, I will remind you, our nation has been built on immigrants, on foreigners coming over here. And every one of them had their role. The Chinese had their roles. A lot of them was building the railroad. You had the Irish. They worked in a lot of the mines. Every group that came over had their part to play in our history, and a large part at that, I might answer. why would you say that anybody coming over here should be held out, kept out of any career? I don't agree with that. If they're here legally, let them do what they can do. Let them make a living. Let them shoot for the American dream. Whether you like them or not is irrelevant. One of them, their comments was on the feed I was reading, oh, you know, they're the ones with their foot up on the dash. 25 years ago, you'd found me driving down the road in a W9 at 80 plus mile an hour with my foot up on the dash. Didn't have nothing to do with who I was from or where I was from or what nationality it was. It was just stupid. And we do stupid stuff once in a while. They're wanting to blame the government. Well, unfortunately, and I hate quoting statistics, they're such a pain in the butt because you can twist a statistic to say anything that you want. However, this one I believe is where they say that far less than 50% of truck drivers vote. They don't take the time to get absentee ballot, vote absentee, vote early, or make sure that they're at home to vote. I'm home tonight because I'm voting in the morning. If you don't like the way the government is doing and the way they're affecting your career, then you need to vote. That's how we change government. Not getting online on some Facebook post and whining and crying and bad-mouthing the government. You vote. You go vote out whoever it is that is not doing what you think they should do, and you vote in whoever it is you think will do what you want them to do. It's that simple. But you can't just not vote and complain about the government. I know, that's a hard pill for some of y'all to swallow, but it's a fact. I, however, was raised that if you don't vote, you can't bitch. And Lord knows I like to bitch. So I make sure I vote. Period. I don't like a lot of stuff in our government. So I vote. I try to educate myself on what's going on, who's doing what. No, I am not a political major or nothing like that. And no, I don't trust CNN or Fox News. I do a little bit of homework. I keep my ear to the ground and I listen and I pay attention all the time. Not just during these election times where so many people, the only knowledge they get is from the commercials on TV. That ain't how it works. That's when you get lied to the worst. Sometimes it's just being subscribed to a lot of different places. With modern media the way it is, there's no excuse for anybody to not be knowledgeable about what's going on. There really ain't. Unfortunately, some of your best resources for knowing what's going on in our country is by reading the news in other countries. Ain't that a crying shame? You can't trust our media. You can't trust our government. So you have to read foreign news to find out what's really going on. Ain't that terrible? Look, the bottom line to this whole video is take pride in your work. That's how you should have been raised. And common courtesy and the good book tells you to treat people nicely. They're talking about other people being rude and mad and all this. They are. You've heard me talking about it. That don't give me an excuse to be rude. How many times growing up did you ever hear two wrongs don't make a right? So just because you see someone else driving rudely, that don't give you the excuse to drive rudely. And I don't care if they're in a truck or a car. You still try to drive nice. I don't care how many people you hear going off on a shipper, receiver, or store clerk. You doing it, that don't make it right. As a matter of fact, once in a while, why don't you call them out on it? Yo, dude, why are you trying to make them mad? I'm going up there next to that window or that cash register. Why don't you just take it out on your truck instead of taking out your anger out on this person? Yes, I have done something like that. No, it's not a perfect career. It's not a perfect industry. It has its faults. But I don't know of a single career or industry out there that don't have its own faults. So it's what we have chose to do. If you don't like it, you can get out of it, by all means, get out. But we are the lifeline to this industry. Yes, we do have a bad name. They was trying to say that we're known for being drug addicts and rapists, sex fiends, whatever. And they just blowing it all out of proportion. Back in the 30s and 40s and up into the 50s, the truckers had a pretty good name, that's true. But in the 60s and 70s, it started going downhill. And I don't put it on automatic transmission. I drive an automatic transmission. I've drove all of them. From a simple 8 to a 10, super 10, 13, 15, 18, and automatic. It does not matter what kind of transmission you have in your truck or what kind of a person it makes you. Period. I'm given a choice what transmission I get in the trucks that he orders next for me. And they ask me what color and what kind of transmission. I picked the blue and an automatic because it's easier on these old knees. I've done gave my knees to the industry. And that has nothing to do with my professionalism or my abilities as a truck driver or the way I treat other people. That's what you need to work on. That transmission and that guy passing you that's driving like a moron, that should not affect you as an individual. Don't let the other driver determine what and who you are. Period. That's my spill on it. Y'all remember, God loves you. So do I. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye.